Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about bringing mindfulness off the cushion. So, what we've done in the last few events is we've talked about the kind of three different ways of practicing mindfulness. One is mindfulness in the body. The next was mindfulness in the breath, so using the breath as an anchor in mindfulness. And then the third one was mindfulness in movement. And so there's a reason that we use all three of them, is that there are some practical applications. I think, like I often say, I don't meditate because I love meditating so much. I love sitting and doing the meditation. I meditate because of the benefit that I see in my daily life, and I'm wanting to teach. I mean, this is kind of my motivation for teaching, is so that I can share with you some of these ways that you can improve your life, reduce the harm you do to yourself, and reduce the harm you do to those around you by practicing mindfulness. That is kind of my goal. I always would like to say, like, what's your highest intention? I heard a monk once say to leave the place that I was in better than it was for my having been there. And I like that. I like that saying. I think that sounds like a pretty good intention. And so the best way to do that isn't by being there and sitting on the cushion. It's by my presence being more in tune and more aware. And as I'm more aware of myself, I can't help but do things more skillfully, right? And that's going to reduce the harm I do to myself and reduce the harm I do to others. Reducing the harm that I do to others also has a positive benefit for me. Sometimes people say, well, hey, isn't mindfulness practice seems awful selfish? You're just sitting there by yourself, zenning out for an hour or whatever. And it may look selfish at some degree, but the thing is that as you improve yourself, right? The airplane line, right? Don't put on the mask of your child before you put your own mask on, because we don't want you to pass out first. We want to make sure that you are able to do it, So the same thing. I need to take care of myself and make sure that I am in a state in which I can be most helpful and most skillful for others. And that's why this practice, although may look like I'm taking care of myself, in this taking care of myself, I can't help but be nicer to those who are around me. So what today's session's about is we've explored the body, the movement, and the breath as anchors. What we really need to put in here is explicitly how this helps with life and where each one of these three really fits in. So mindfulness isn't the vibe. It isn't zenning. I just said zenning out earlier, right? Like that's not what Zen is about. That's not what mindfulness is about. Mindfulness is a skill that changes what happens in the moment, no matter whether you're stressed, whether you're reactive, whether you're rushed, whether you're on autopilot. It gives you this pause between stimulus and response to really analyze, even in that briefest of seconds, what's going on right now, so that I can more skillfully respond to what it is that's going on. So, what are some areas in which you'll be able to use your mindfulness intentionally? One is, stress spikes. When you notice stress earlier, when you can see it as it's coming on, and by the way, it shows up as a bodily sensation before you can cognitively be aware of it. So, that is immediately one way to apply mindfulness of body. So noticing stress earlier, so it builds less momentum. It's easier to stop it before it becomes a freight train, completely out of control. Reactivity, you catch your body's signals before the sharp tone, the snap, the text that you send in regret. It helps you with autopilot. So it'll help you to wake up inside of those routines that you're sleepwalking through, that you're just kind of going through the motions and possibly doing things that don't make sense. Decision fatigue, when you are depleted, and it will help to stop you to stop forcing bad decisions. Another one, overthinking. You stop feeding your thought loop by returning to direct experience. And there are more benefits than these, but the last one I have written here is self-kindness. You meet discomfort without immediately judging yourself for it. So mindfulness doesn't remove the difficulty. It reduces the extra suffering that we add on top. So let's talk about those three anchors. So the body. The body is the fast grounding. It's a way to ground right here, right now, and it's the earliest warning system that we have as to seeing what's going to go on. We can notice the direct tension that we experience. So tension often appears in the jaw, appears in the shoulders, it'll appear in the belly, it appears in the chest, and so we can notice that. And we can notice physical sensations of like temperature changing. So we can notice tension in the chest. We can notice we can notice heat building in the chest. And one thing that I can always notice is that when my face turns red, right? I know, which it maybe interestingly makes it, like if I'm embarrassed, if I feel my face turning red, it makes me even more embarrassed, right? Which makes my face turn redder. So it's seeing that loop can continuously happen as well. So noticing the mind, the body, and the emotions all feeding off one another. So, noticing that. Also anger, right? I can feel when blood moves into my face, when my face flushes out, it becomes easy for me to notice. So, and again, can you do that with a smile? Can you notice these things, even as anger is showing up? Being able to kind of smile towards yourself. Look, here it is. Here's what's happening in my mind and my body right now. Right? It's that kind of objectivity that lets you take back control of the steering wheel. Being embarrassed about being embarrassed, unfortunately, is just feeds the loop. Is it possible for you, when you feel something happening, to look at yourself with a smile and say, this is what I see, this is what I am experiencing with myself in my experience right now? So it gives you this power to recognize your state before you act out mindlessly about what's going on. It allows you to intervene earlier when it's easier to intervene. Let's not even say easier, when it's possible. Because once we start heading down that road, it literally becomes impossible to start intervening into what we're going to do. It becomes this inevitability. So the application here. So when you're in conflict, can you feel your jaw tighten? Your shoulders? Can you try to intentionally soften them before you speak? If that's possible. In fact, this is again, okay, body, the main, for me, the body, the main thing is noticing, right? It's not about the affecting of what's going on, right? So it's noticing the state as it is. It's one of the reasons to do body scans. Is so can I see that state in the moment? What is happening to me right now? Okay, so intentionally soften the shoulders. I mean, if this is possible. I think for me, breath is more about intentionally not just seeing the state, but in the moment, calming down what the response is about to be. So, okay, in conflict. So for the body, in conflict, feel the jaw, feel the shoulders before a tough task you're about to do. Check your tension levels, adjust the plan if you can. When you're anxious, feel the feet, feel the hands. Find something grounding to stop spiraling. So the body, I'm just going to write this phrase down here. The body tells the truth quickly. So we'll move on to, that's the body. Let's move on to the breath. The breath is the portable reset button. It creates some space around stress. So can we stay with the breath without needing to control it? Can we return to the breath again and again? So the benefit here is learning to be with the discomfort without panicking, learning to build steadiness under pressure. So what we can do is use this before responding to a message, before in any of these stressful times. We notice that the stress is happening. We feel the stress in the chest, in the shoulders, in the neck. And then we can say, I see the stress is here. And one way to help to release the stress is to focus right here in this moment on this breath that's happening. So just feeling what's going on, and just, you don't even have to evaluate. Just being present with one breath can be so powerful to change what it is you're about to do next. So, before replying, before you speak, usually there really is. If somebody says something to you, you really do have a full, you can pause for 2 seconds without it being weird or awkward. Just pause, take a breath, notice what's happening, and then choose what it is you're going to say instead of reacting. You can breathe before you enter the meeting room. One breath and then enter. If you're feeling overwhelmed, one breath, feel the contact points of the body. Ground yourself. The breath, remember the breath as an anchor, not as a lever to switch things, okay? That's important to notice, because I am saying that the breath may help to change the situation, okay? It gives data. It lets us anchor in the present moment, but it's not something that is going to instantly, that we can expect is going to always instantly change everything. So if things don't change when we focus on the breath, can we just be okay with that? Because this is a process. This is this is sowing seeds. You can't shout at the seeds and make them grow faster. You are where you are in your practice, and the more you practice, the more you're able to develop and strengthen this muscle. Mindful movement. The real joy of mindful movement is the presence during transitions. So attention with activity, not only attention and stillness. So what it helps is that you'll stop losing yourself in the busiest parts of the day. It helps bring you into the moments that usually trigger reactivity. So, and so the practice is, can you notice when I'm shifting from one thing to another? Especially when I'm shifting from something that's comfortable to something that's uncomfortable. From lying down, from being in bed to getting out of bed. Can I notice what that transition is like? And the other thing too is like you can use it to ground yourself in the present moment. Washing your hands after you go to the bathroom. Can you feel the water, whether it's warm or cold? Can you feel it on your hands? Can you notice what is happening right there? So, in summary, mindfulness is this key mechanism that helps us to notice the signal, the tight chest, the shallow breath, the clenched jaw. It helps you to stop feeding that story for a moment, and then it helps you to choose your action more wisely. So you can still feel the emotion, but it's less running your life, right? So, and that's the other thing, right? Welcome that emotion. Can you be welcoming to what it is? That it's the pushing away that actually makes things even harder. So, let me welcome all of you to being here today. It's great to see you here. Hi Rachel. Hi, Kara. Hello, Alexa. Great to see you again. And welcome, everybody. It's great to have you here. Hi, Fernando. Or I should say, howdy, Fernando. Let's go ahead and get into our practice. Let's see. There's another familiar face here. Hi, Julie. And hi, everybody. Okay. So get comfortable wherever you are. And so this is the intentional practicing of mindfulness. So this is the idea. We practice on the cushion so that we are able to bring it away and use what we learn here in our daily lives. So let's start with the body. So do you notice, is there tension in the body? So let's start at the crown of the head, and the scalp, the face, just noticing the skin, noticing the temperature of the skin, noticing if there's any tension in the muscles underneath the skin. Being aware of the jaw, the eyebrows. These are two places where for sure tension shows up for me, maybe for you too. Tension can also appear in the shoulders. So let's scan down to the shoulders and the neck. And let's move to the right shoulder. So bring attention to the right upper arm. The right elbow and forearm. Just noticing whatever's there. The right wrist and the right hand. And now let's move to the left shoulder, to the left upper arm, to the left elbow and forearm, to the left wrist and the left hand. And now let's examine the upper torso, the chest and the upper back, the rib cage, the lungs, the heart. Now moving down to the lower torso, the abdomen, the lower back, the pelvic region. I'm just noticing everything here. movement inside, perhaps. Any awareness you have of your internal organs. And now the right upper leg, so the right thigh. The right lower leg and the right knee. The right ankle and the right foot. And now the left thigh. The left knee and the left lower leg. The left ankle and the left foot. So now let's expand awareness to the body as a whole. So here it is. Here is my body. Notice the grounding points, the body on the cushion or the chair. Contact between your body and anything external, your clothing, air moving through the room. And now let's gently guide our attention to the abdomen. This time, not examining everything around the abdomen and inside the torso, but just focusing on the movement of the abdomen with the breath. Expansion as we breathe in, contraction as we breathe out. Just feeding our body with life-giving oxygen every time we breathe in. and see, is it possible for you to notice the subtle differences? Not just between the beginning of the meditation and now, but also, can you feel the difference between the in-breath and the out-breath? There are subtle changes happening in your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out. See if you can turn up your awareness dial all the way to 11. Notice these nuances between what's happening as I breathe in and what's happening as I breathe out. So now, just invite you to take a moment to observe the state of the body and the mind, where you are right now. And now I'm going to invite you into a transition into movement. So let's roll the shoulders a few times. So inhaling, bringing the shoulders up. And then as we exhale, bringing the shoulders back and down. Inhaling forward, up. Exhaling back, down. Inhale, forward, up. Exhale, back, down. Inhale, forward, up, and then hold your shoulders here for a moment. And then exhaling, letting the shoulders rest down. Now just take a moment to check in. Hold your attention in the shoulders. Now let's go the other way. Inhale, shoulders up, forward, down, exhale. Together, up, inhale, forward, together, exhale, back, up, inhale. And the next time your shoulders come up to your ears. Just hold them there for a moment. And then release down. And now, just invite you to take your chin and bring it towards your chest. Feel the stretch in the back of the neck. Release, come back up. Turn the head to the right. Bring the chin over the right shoulder. Just breathe here. And then release. And then turn the head to the left, chin towards the left shoulder. And then release back to center. I'm just going to turn my head a few times to kind of help release. Roll my head. Roll the shoulders. Just feel now, what's different? What's different as I do this movement? Can I notice the intentional transition that happens? So let's come back to the body, anchor of the body. Just be aware of the body as a whole and how it feels now. State of the body, state of the mind, state of the emotions in this moment. And now we'll draw our practice to its close with 3 rings of the bell. Thanks everybody for joining. Hope you're doing okay today. How did it go? Yeah. If you hadn't noticed, I couldn't stay completely on point the whole time because I had Finn the kitten here. Finn, oh, there he goes, meowing and and being around. He's cute. I'll tell you, he's a Houdini. He's an escape artist. He's escaped my place a few times now, which I don't even know how sometimes. Like the security found him on the 3rd floor once. I'm like, how did he get all the way down there? No. So, yeah. So how did it go? And have you tried this before? How has your practice, body, breath, and movement, how has that affected you in daily life? If you found any applications, please feel free to share it in the chat. Yeah, Finn and Frankie are getting along just fine now, and they're quite good little buddies. I took Frank to the groomer yesterday. I had to pay a $20 surcharge for Chinese New Year because, if you didn't know, you can't. It's bad luck to cut your hair during the Chinese New Year period. So that means I wanted to look nice for Chinese New Year for all of our friends coming over, and I have to pay a little extra for it. Yeah. I don't know. He wants to get out. I'll attend to Finn shortly. Thanks, CC, for your donation. Yeah, well, for sure. I bought more cat chow yesterday. I couldn't believe how expensive it was. So, I find that my mindfulness, meditation, while I'm meditating, I don't find, when the meditation's over, I'm like, wow, that was it. Didn't feel like a successful meditation. And it turns out that even short meditation sessions do have a strong impact on my daily life. And I find that I'm much more equipped to handle difficult stuff. Yeah, Gene says we use attention on the body a lot in EMDR training or therapy. So attention to the body, there's just so much information here. There's so much that we can pull off of what's happening in the body, that we can be wiser about what it is that's happening. And I want to say as well, as you're meditating, as you're being mindful, I'm just putting up my Cultivating the 9 Attitudes of Mindfulness course, because this is another, sometimes we can get off track. It's possible to not be meditating and not having a helpful attitude. And so this course here can help you as you try to cultivate the attitudes that are going to be helpful in your meditation. So, yeah, and Jean says, how does an emotion or a feeling feel in the body? There's so much. That's like a gold mine of self-understanding. So you can notice. I've talked about it a few times. The first time I went, I noticed this weird something happened. I noticed a weird sensation in my body. And I'm like, that's anxiety. I finally figured it out. I know the markers. Anytime I feel this combination of feelings together, that means I'm feeling anxiety. I got him again. Let's see here. See if you can get a good look at Finn's face. Whoa. He's just too energetic. Let's close our practice as we do with some well wishes. And I'll say, before we do that, I'll say really quickly, I said it at the beginning. I just want to say it again for everybody who's here. I've just had I've got some stuff going on that's making my life really busy right now. I was absolutely exhausted at the end of the day yesterday. So I'm just going to take a little break from my Insight Timer live events. Probably, I would guess it's going to be this week. Thursday, I won't have an event. I'm not planning to have an event next week on Tuesday or Thursday either, because of Chinese New Year, among other things. And then I'll come back briefly before I have to traveling. So just give you a heads up. I'll post the next live event soon. Maybe not today, but you'll see it. It'll be showing up probably the week after next. So let's close our practice with some well wishes. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are right now, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all of our human brothers and sisters and siblings everywhere, no matter who they are, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again for joining. See you again soon. Bye-bye.